On a rainy night in November, a man walked into a roadside diner, sat at the counter, and ordered a cup of coffee. The waitress poured it. She turned to ring up the check. When she turned back, 11 seconds later, the coffee was still steaming, the money was on the counter, and the man was gone. His car was still in the parking lot. It stayed there for 6 days. He was never seen again. Stay with me, because the security tape only makes it stranger. The diner sat at exit 12 off a long stretch of interstate, the kind of place that exists only because tired drivers need somewhere to stop at 2 in the morning. It had a counter, 8 booths, a wall clock that ran 4 minutes fast, and a single camera above the register that the owner had installed after a robbery years before. On the night this happened, the diner was nearly empty. There was the cook in the back, the waitress at the counter, and one trucker in the far booth, half asleep over his eggs. The man came in a little after midnight. The waitress, whose name was Donna, remembered him clearly, because there was nothing to remember and that bothered her later. Ordinary height. Ordinary coat, wet from the rain. He sat at the counter, 2 stools from the register, and asked for a coffee, black. He had a quiet voice. He set a $5 bill on the counter before she even poured, which people sometimes did when they meant to leave fast. She poured the coffee. She said it would be $1.50. He didn't answer. She turned to the register to make change. The register was an old mechanical one, and it stuck sometimes, and that night it stuck. Donna would testify that she was turned away from the man for no more than 10 or 11 seconds, wrestling the drawer open. She heard nothing behind her. No stool scraping. No door. No footsteps. The bell over the door, which rang every single time it opened, did not ring. And when the drawer finally popped and she turned back with his change in her hand, the stool was empty. The coffee sat where she had poured it, still steaming. The $5 bill was still on the counter. The man was gone. Her first thought was the bathroom. But the bathroom was down a short hallway in full view of the counter, and she would have seen him cross to it, and the trucker in the far booth, who was now sitting up and staring, said no one had passed him. Her second thought was the door. But the door had a bell, and the bell had not rung, and outside the rain was coming down hard on an empty lot where his car, she would soon learn, was still parked. They searched the diner. It took about 90 seconds, because there was almost nothing to search. The kitchen, where the cook swore no one had come through. The bathroom, empty. The booths, empty. The small storeroom, locked from the outside. There was no basement. There was no back door that wasn't chained. There was 1 man's worth of wet footprints leading from the entrance to the counter stool, and there were no footprints leading away. The car in the lot was registered to a man named Peter Sallow, 41, from 3 states away. His wallet was in the glove compartment. His phone was on the passenger seat. The engine was cold. Inside, everything was ordinary, the interior of a man on a long drive, except for one thing that the investigators noted and never explained: the car was locked, from the inside, and the keys were in Peter Sallow's coat pocket. The same coat Donna had watched him wear at the counter. The same coat he was still wearing when he vanished. That left the camera. The single camera above the register, pointed down the length of the counter, that had been recording the whole time. The tape shows exactly what Donna described, and nothing more, which is the problem. Peter Sallow enters. He sits. He sets down the bill. Donna pours the coffee, says something, turns to the register. And Peter Sallow sits at the counter, perfectly still, for 9 seconds. Then, in the space of a single frame, between 1/30th of a second and the next, he is not there. He does not stand. He does not lean. He does not move toward the door. In one frame the stool holds a man, and in the next frame it holds nothing, and the coffee cup in front of the empty stool sends up a thin line of steam into the fluorescent light. The tape has been examined by people whose job is to find the cut, the splice, the missing frames. There is no cut. The timestamp runs clean and continuous. A man was there, and then, in less time than it takes to blink, a man was not. The investigators tried everything a rational person tries. They considered that Donna was involved, and cleared her. They considered the cook, the trucker, a hidden accomplice, a staged disappearance, an insurance scheme, a debt he was running from. Every theory needed the man to physically leave the diner, and every exit from the diner made that impossible. The door with its bell. The locked storeroom. The kitchen with a witness. The 40 feet of clean linoleum with footprints going one way and none coming back. Peter Sallow's family never got an answer. His wife came to the diner once, months later, and sat at the counter, and Donna, who still worked there, poured her a coffee and did not charge her for it. The wife asked to see the stool. She sat on it. She said her husband had called her that afternoon from the road and told her he'd be home by morning, and that he'd sounded happy, and that there had been nothing wrong, nothing at all. The diner at exit 12 closed a few years later, the way those places do. The building is still there, dark now, the neon sign long unlit. The wall clock, 4 minutes fast, stopped somewhere in the years since. And on a tape in an evidence box, a cup of coffee steams forever in front of an empty stool, in the 11 seconds it took a tired waitress to turn around, and turn back, and find that the truth had walked out of the world without ringing the bell.